Hello, I am Tistu Bloomberg. I make games in north of Sweden since 2019, and I want to show you my idea, Land of Stone. It's an anarchy fantasy multiplayer online game. I like to create adventure. I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons. 2019 I started Unvoid Studio, did a bunch of games in Unity, nothing really released, but I did successfully make a treasure map store, which you can see here. It's a real life game. Some lovely characters created there by the players. I love that quick feedback you get from the players. You can quickly improve and iterate on the game. Anyway, so 2022 I became a professional game developer and worked on a game called The Last Realm. I did AI and NPC programming and some project management stuff as well. Right now, I'm working on learning Unreal Engine on this smaller roguelike game called Kill the Devil, and I'm game director for a game I'm making together with Terra AB. It's a climate educational game. The philosophy behind Land of Stone is the idea of the wild naked stones. I grew up reading Conan the Barbarian magazines. My dad had a bunch of them. I like this idea of the masculine, that being naked is natural part of life, and that death is just a part of life, and this thirst for power, fighting, and war. I also did a bunch of adventuring in the forest as a kid. There was a forest next to the school, so during the lunch breaks we went out in there. But we couldn't really make things, we couldn't build things, or we couldn't change the environment because we didn't own the environment. So we just could go there and play, and then we couldn't start to build anything really. And recently, a couple of years ago, I was working as a teacher with some tough kids, and they just got angry at each other, started throwing stones at each other, and I thought like, man, it's so easy to just break the rules, pick up a stone and throw it. There's like no physical law that. It's such a anarchistic and wild idea. It's dangerous, not good. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a fascinating idea, I think. So Gateway Games, an inspiration for Land of Stone, is mainly this pretty recently made game called 1 Hour, 1 Life, one of my favorite games. In that game, you get 1 hour. You are born by a player, so you spawn by a mother at the player, and you can't do anything as a baby. And they have to take care of you the first couple of minutes while you grow up. And then you, together with the community, you can craft. You can simple crafting by combining things, and you can build like this whole society if you collaborate. At the 60-minute mark, you get old and die, and then you can respawn, and you might end up at the same place or you might not. So, and I really love the community and the simple crafting and this idea. I also grew up playing a game called Nox, which has, it's up here in the left, which has, I think, amazing atmosphere, a really tangible feeling to the game. I love the graphics, and it has a great third-person combat as well. I also played Ultima Online, one of the amazing games, MMOs I played, which has a really living world. You feel like you want to explore everything in the world. Nothing is boring there. There's something to do at every place. And Heroes 3, of course, down here to the right, amazing focus on long gameplay. Like it's partly the turn-based quality and stuff like that that makes it very, you think of a long time, like you're building your kingdom. And up in the right corner, we have Age of Empires, which is also a war game, a strategy game. You probably know it. But what I like most about it is that you feel like the world is yours. You can conquer every space. You can build everywhere. You really want to expand your kingdom in that game. So these are a lot of games and a kind of different game mechanics, which I want to trim down because I know I've been making games a lot. So I know you cannot have everything in one game. It will take so much time and effort. But I want to extract these feelings of these games and combine it into Land of Stone. So the basic game mechanics of Land of Stone is you start as a baby, born by a player. You don't get to choose your mother. You're just placed in the world. The mother has to take care of you for around an hour of gameplay, and then hour 2 to 24 you play as a child, so you can do things, you can craft things, you can move things, but you cannot do things like swim. So you cannot get, like if you're on an island, you cannot get past that, so you're kind of limited in what you can do. Then from day 2 to 7, first week, you become a teenager and you can swim and you can also fight. So then you can start to explore the world as well if you want to, or stay close to your like tribe. Week 2 to 52, the majority of the game, 1 year approximately, you're an adult. And you're basically like a teenager, but a little bit stronger. And you also have this ability of organizational and leadership, which is a more of a top-down strategy perspective. And after you have gone through adult, you become old, which you are the remaining of the year. So it says year 2 to 3. It's not, the time is not perfectly balanced yet, but something like that. And when you become old, you have access to alchemy and magic. So alchemy and magic is very, very rare, very, very rare for a player to have access to. It's very, very powerful, and just like 1 Hour, One Life and other roguelikes, if you get old and you misuse your power, somebody can kill you and then you're dead and you have to restart as a baby. So, and there will be nudity, but no sexual content. Think like Rust or something like that. Like, we're not afraid of nudity, but we're not promoting sexual content. Yeah, here's some more perspective on the different Zoom levels, I call it, and abilities and resources for the different age groups. So the Zoom level is like the perspective. So in the beginning, you always have access to this third person perspective where you play your character. As a baby, you have you see a smaller piece of the world, and as you get older, you see a bigger piece of the world, a little bit more zoomed out, maybe like Diablo games or similar. When you become an adult and you're old, you get access to this different level of perspective, which is the top-down strategy perspective. So you can switch between the two depending on what you want to do at the moment. And the lot of life is based on how much land would you get as a human if we all divided Earth equally. I think this concept is fascinating. First off, Earth is 70% water. So for every player, the server would start empty. For every player, 3 tiles would be created. So there's land and 2 water pieces. The player can choose to randomize the land or to design it themselves, like from a map perspective. Just the natural resources, like do you want a beach, do you want grass or forest, or do you want caves and mountains or water. When a player dies, they can redraw the map. So anyone who's built something on there will just crumble like a natural disaster every time somebody dies in the game. The lot of life, well, the server expands. When a new player joins, a new baby is born, they don't spawn on their island that they create, but they have to put your island somewhere and your pieces of water somewhere. Nobody owns the water, but you have a small ownership of the land that you create. But remember that you are birthed by your mother. So in this case, you're birthed on this small island here, and it's not until you're a teenager that you can swim over to your land over here. This is an example with 16 players where some players has decided to design their land so it connects, creating a bigger land piece. And then they have played to make bridges, and here's a castle and stuff. As a player, your own lot of land, you decide if it's gonna be a peaceful, protected, PvP disabled piece of land, or if it's gonna be a wild PvP enabled land. That's basically it. So we can, any kind of play style can be created. So it could be potentially easy to create civilizations in protected areas, but you cannot use your power if you build a lot of power in that civilization to conquer anything. So then you have to go into the wild where PvP is enabled and get that part of gameplay. Also remember that this will be changed when a player dies. So yeah, if they want to change it. Land of Stone is an epic game. It takes a long time to do stuff. Creating one stone block can take 1 hour, and that's not even in the beginning of the game. That's maybe sometime in the game when you have developed or have access to resources and stuff. You can create stone blocks. And one castle may take 1 month or something to create. And obviously this will encourage collaboration between players to create kingdoms together. The technology will span from the Stone Age to the Medieval Age. And it will be based on authentic tools. So you can get this really primitive, immersive feeling. Like this is not just a game, it's feels kind of like reality because you have the similar challenges. You have really realistic stuff going on here. And what I also want to bring in is musical instruments. So some kind of simple game mechanic to play music together and create more kind of musical instruments. And developing these technologies will take a lot of time. It's not like Minecraft that you can do it in an hour or whatever. It will take time to develop these things. And I wanted to reflect reality in the sense that when you play this game, if you play through the technologies, you have knowledge enough about this so you can do it in real life if you wanted to. The challenge is not going to be the same. Like it's not a realistic simulator game, but the knowledge has to be there so you feel empowered in reality to rebuild civilization if you like to. The basic stuff, like not everything, but so with this, Medieval civilizations are possible, also thriving Stone Age civilizations where you collaborate and create stuff. And obviously, if a player gets old, you get access to magic and alchemy, which are very powerful and sacred. I think of the scene in Lord of the Rings, this big battle, and Saruman has this huge metal bowl filled with powder. What is it? Gunpowder, and it's like it's a very significant thing. Like, and that's a part of alchemy in this game. Like, it's very powerful. It takes a lot of time to create that knowledge and create that stuff, but it can be potentially used to completely obliterate a castle uh, in a one hit kind of stuff. I also want to see this kind of like an experiment where you can play the game in different kind of styles. Either you can play it in very anarchistic kind of style. You just take what you want, you just kill who you want, you just do what you want in these PvP realms. Or I want to see possibility to create like tribes. Like you bond with each other and you create these teams. Kind of like when you the feeling is like in Dungeons and Dragons when you are in a team and you're trying to do this quest, you're trying to do something together, something great together. And obviously the bigger top-down perspectives will enable the player not as much. They will when you play the top-down perspective, you will not like put a building there and then it builds. It's more like you get access to communications tools to other players, and this you get access to communications tools to other players. So you can, as a leader, you can more easily make orders. I think of it as developing the technology of messenger pigeons, like that enable castles to send messages very quickly, and that together with the new perspective that this kind of player can see this bigger perspective and get an overview, which knowledge wise is very beneficial from a strategy point of view. But other than that, it's just kind of the same as before. You still have to do the talk to people about building things here and doing things there, da da da. I want the game mechanics to be very simple and enable the player to create their own systems or organizations. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some people created some advanced form of bureaucracy and safety and police and fire brigades and all kinds of stuff to build and stabilize the kingdom. And other players would just have a call on Discord like, do this here, go here. Yeah. So that's basically the big picture of Land of Stone. This project will take several years to make. There's gonna be a lot of challenges to this. Um, it is an MMO. It's not. It's not a game that you should start your game development career making, and it's always harder than you think it is. It takes longer than you think it does. So, what I need help with is to unlock my time to make more game design. And what I want to do is be a game director in a sense. I also want to start to make prototypes for the features of this game, like start to make some multiplayer functionality, start to make this idea of the lot of land and this aging concept, and basically make I want to make prototypes that can combine the simplest way, like a minimal viable product. I'm doing the same with Killer Devil right now, just making the core pieces. And I want to make the same here with Land of Stone, with with prototypes to make something core that is playable, so we can start to play it and see how what is interesting with the game and where should we expand, what should we create from it, and what are the challenges and stuff like that. So I would love to make this game in Unreal Engine because Unreal Engine graphics speaks to me, man. It's beautiful. Um, and it's got great tools. I think the game should be coded in C++ completely. I'm not a master of C++, so I would love to have someone work with me on this, and I want them to get paid for their work. Um, I'm not sure how many people would be great to start with. Maybe 3 people to start with. Um, yeah, maybe a good C++ programmer for Unreal and a great 3D artist, and then me as a game director, game designer, project manager, making sure they have what they need, and then probably create Discord channels once we have some cool prototype. Start to build like a community of players that can play it and give feedback, so we can iterate, making a first prototype in a month, give that to player, get feedback, make some new features next month, give that new version to the players, and like do this iterative dance with to improve. I like this stuff. So please, if you want to work with me on this game, or if you want to invest in this game, um, or if you want to help in any other way, please just reach out and let's build a land of stone.